You know, in high school I took yoga class. That led me to college years. I studied like Hinduism in school, and I would join like every club I could that had to do with like Eastern religions. So eventually led me to a cult in Montana. I was definitely in a very vulnerable place in my life, like really was questioning a lot of things at that point. I was open to like everything, and this guy walked into the health food store one day and everyone kind of was like, oh, here he is, and like they knew him as like just this annoying older guy that would like kind of talk too much. But I thought he was funny, and I was like, oh, like he paid a lot of attention to me, and I thought, oh, like he kind of was like, oh, he was like a dad figure, because, you know, he was older. He gave me a book one day. I just was like engrossed in it, and like the pictures, like I don't know how, but I just like was completely captivated. And we spent like the whole day together, like cooking healthy food, talking about this book, and he's like, I'm gonna take you to church. So then the very like that Sunday, I think, or maybe the next week, I went to his like the cult like church service. That was it. Like I was in. We're in Montana, this beautiful place, and like it felt like I had like a purpose finally, I think, and I needed to like promote this. They play these like really fast prayers they call decrees, and later on I found out like that's how they brainwash people in a false way, but I was definitely really like just excited all the time, and like kind of not in a natural way, like in a way of like I was too happy. Like I almost didn't need anybody. Like I didn't need people. Like I had like my close little few people, but like my family I didn't really talk to. So yeah, I woke up in the morning and had this feeling that I had been placed under like this like horrible weight. Like my chest felt like there was like an anvil on it, and it was harder for me to get out of bed even. And I like looked in my mirror, and I remember being like, before like my eyes were like shiny and like they looked dull, like I looked kind of like gray, and like I was just like, I thought, okay, I'm being like attacked. This is clearly an attack because what I'm doing is like so good. So that was like sort of the beginning of how I realized there was something wrong. And then after that I sort of went to all these different people being like, pray for me, pray for me. Like my best friend, this one guy who had like brought me the teachings, we'd call him, he was, I think I went to him one day like explaining, like I was like, I'm really suffering, I don't know what's going on, and he was like, you're stealing my light, like you need to get away. And I was like, okay, like I just was totally alone. And so it still took me another year of just sort of being like, I was still in it, but I was starting to be like, okay, there's something weird, what is it? And so I kind of just kept living my life, and I was teaching preschool, but meanwhile just feeling awful. My parents were like, well, you know, why don't you go back to college, like finish your degree? That was starting to sound like a good idea. My mom came to help me move to Colorado, and I just broke down. I finally told her like what was going on, and like I was like, Mom, can you just like hold me? Like I was just so broken and so like oppressed. It wasn't just a weight. I had along with it the sense of just this dread, this like incredible fear and dread, like someone was watching me, this just like eerie presence around me all the time. Like I wanted to get out of my own skin. Yeah, so I picked up this book, An Exorcist Tells His Story, and just read it. Like I just sat down and like started to read it, and it wasn't even like long into it, like maybe like 15 pages or something, that I just immediately understood that Jesus was God, and that everything I'd believed the last 10 years was all a lie. And I really like just accepted it. It just sort of like that still small voice, kind of just like that knowing. I just knew, okay, so I have to be Catholic again. Like I still felt oppressed. I still like needed like prayers, but I knew that like I'd found like the place to be healed and everything. Because I didn't have like an immediate like deliverance, so I had to go in like monthly for like a couple years. It's not that he doesn't love me, that he's allowed me to suffer in my life and have to like search for him and then now be oppressed with the devil. Like this, like it's really painful, but I understood like salvific suffering and how you can offer that up for souls and for conversions. You know, my sister now has just come into the church just 2 days ago. My sister made her profession of faith and became Catholic and had a really profound conversion this past summer. My parents, like I said, they're going to church, and I see like how God used me in all of this. Like if I can at all encourage anyone, if they are like thinking like, oh, maybe explore like, I don't know, Eastern meditation or get more into yoga or any of the New Age practices. If you're going in that path, like just stop and turn around. Like if I can help anyone not do that, that would be great. Because like, I mean, if you're Catholic already or Christian already, just to know that like we're in the right camp. There's so much mysticism in the church. There's so much beauty, and that we don't have to go seeking anywhere else. Like we have the fullness of the truth here.